the asshole for getting high so my relatives don't try and pawn me off with their children? I live in British Columbia and my family often hosts at our home because we live on a lake. However, I seem to always get roped into watching the kids, which means I don't get to enjoy my life when we have guests. My husband will drink beer with his brother and dad, and my mother-in-law and sister-in-law will go to winery visits, and I end up in the house responsible for my nieces and nephews. So last weekend, I made sure I was high as F when they showed up. My husband and his brother had to watch the kids because I was in no condition to. Their mother's pissed at me because she trusts me to make better choices. I told her that my free time is valuable and I wasn't free childcare. My husband had already had a few, so his brother had to stay and watch the kids. Poor baby. My husband thinks I should have tried talking to them again for the 50th time instead of getting effed up. I think that they should know better now than to ask me to watch their kids. Am I the asshole?
Why do people always need to go to the extreme to prove a point now?
Come on.
Why you gotta get effed up like that, child? Why you gotta get high as a cloud? Like, you ain't gotta go that far now.
She was
fam. You know you're puffing with a mission.
Puff puff daddy.
Literally.
Puff puff daddy.
Literally. What the
that
heck?
is so crazy.
Yeah,
You are the house.
Yeah, I think that's a bit too much. What do you think? You think it's fine?
No, I don't think it's fine. I don't think your children should even see you in that kind of.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
I think it's irresponsible. But
if you say like you're super, like,
saying,
there's other ways you can make it. Like maybe being super tired that you're like literally lethargic, like as in like pretending, not actually being in the stage. You know what I mean? Like one can pretend and actually just like when you're by yourself, actually be okay. Because you know when you're high as well, like obviously you actually have to go through the emotions. It's like if I was her, like for example, even just like being drunk. I'd much rather pretend. Because I just want to have my time to myself.
It's
I'm
true.
much rather pretend
Now you
to be
actually
drunk.
have
so
to.
then when they leave me alone and I lock the door, I'm actually okay. But now you actually have to go through
No, it's true.
all the emotions. You're not even going to enjoy yourself. You're not going to enjoy, unless you consider that as enjoyable, you're not going to really enjoy your time that you want to yourself like
you're
that.
just going to be sitting there.
Be sitting there, but no one's going to like enjoy with you. Do you know what I mean?
What happened to just voicing your opinion?
Opinions,
and your
fam.
concerns? Forget the high.
Yeah.
Just say I don't want to look after these damn kids.
Yeah, man, they ain't my kids, y'all. Like, what the hell?
I'm judging from that story that she don't have any kids.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta live my life.
Because she said my nieces and nephews. She
Yeah,
said my
so
kids.
please, I don't have any
And
kids.
it's actually not fair. Like, honestly, like, I know, like, it's just the norm. But why is it that, like, kids always just have to end up with, like, the woman? Like, why is it that, like, we have to just always, like, when a baby now comes, like, they always go and put a baby on your lap.
Women are nurturing. Women are motherly. Women are this. Women are that. Women are whole. Women are that.
No, honestly, it's very, very annoying. I can't lie to you.
It's jarring. For
sure.
And
her husband's just there. She said husband's
it's
just there
like
chilling.
the other women have actually just come and dumped the kids and they've gone and done their own thing.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Like, they just
dumped their own kids.
Because they were like, you don't have kids, so you can look after the kids whilst we go to a winery. Like, what if I wanted to drink wine as well?
Literally.
Nah, it's rude, man.
Oh my god.
I hear why
do
she felt like.
Do you know what?
No, I hear why she felt like she needed to do, but she didn't actually need to do it. She could actually just pretend.
Yeah, she should have just pretended.
She could actually just pretend.
But maybe she.
If something happened where like actually like an emergency happened and she actually needs to be like, all right,
Alert.
you know your family are going to be coming around with loads of kids around. I just think in those, just be wise. Do you know what I mean? But I understand why sometimes I can't lie to you. Let's be real. Some family members, you need to go to the extreme more. Auntie, I can't help you. Oh, my leg. Sorry, I was holding my breath. I don't even know why.
My leg.
You know what you mean? My leg. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, sometimes I can't lie. With some people, you need to
You need to be
over the top so
extreme.
that they can really understand that this thing is really inconveniencing you.
Yeah.
But yeah, she could have pretended still.
Yeah.
No.
I think the there's family that always overstep their boundaries.
Absolutely.
I think that's
what I'm
what
saying.
I get annoyed with. Like people just I know we spoke about it in the last episode, but entitlement is just it's just like it's just a crazy thing. Like I actually hate entitlement.
Same.
Like why do you feel like you're entitled to that?
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Literally, like no one should be entitled to look after your kids if they're not their kids. Do you know what I mean? Like at all. Like, and also I don't know if you guys remember. Oh my God, that dilemma. I don't know if we discussed it on the podcast or whether it was just one that came up on the TL. But it was about the fact of a woman who felt like her mum should be looking after her own kids.
Who should be looking after?
Yeah, like she gave birth and her mum should be looking after like her mum should want to spend time with her grandkids when her mum wanted to just go out and like enjoy herself in her old age. But she was like, oh no, I've just given birth. Like I wanted my mum to be around and help out a lot
I
more.
think we discussed it.
Oh, okay. So basically in this scenario, there was a woman and she'd just given birth. And obviously, like when you're giving birth, your mum would, if your mum's around, she would kind of help you, support you, and all that sort of thing. So the mum had been around, helped her settle and all that sort of jazz. But she had explained that all her children had just left the house. So as one of her children were having kids, her last born had left the house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like she has
it was
that
like
time.
finally, like she was able to enjoy time with her husband and like just go out, enjoy and all that sort of thing.
Empty
So obviously,
nesters.
So obviously, like I said, she was still there for her daughter at the beginning stages, but they had plans. They wanted to travel. They wanted to do certain things. But basically, the daughter was like, I need my mum to move in because I'm working. My husband's working. We're like, everyone's busy trying to like basically get money. So I need my mum to come and basically look after my baby. And I don't want to pay for childcare if my mum's around. So that's what she said. And she basically said like, my mum should want to be around her grandkids and to help raise her grandkids. And I'm like, that's the sense of entitlement. That's insane. Like, yes, we have that sort of thing where we feel like, okay, cool. Like we know deep down that our parents and especially our mums will be there in a nurturing way to support us.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that it's expected and you expect her to drop her whole life, her whole plans at that old age, like we all have.
After she's raised how many kids?
All
like,
those
her
kids
last
and her last kid just left. And
Oh,
you're
have
trapped
some
with-
compassion.
That's what I'm trying to say. People like to... There was two sides to it. Some people were just like, oh, like the mum should like understand that she can't afford childcare, so like she should just be there and stuff. But the mum had plans, and I don't know whether I can't remember if in this particular case, the reason why the last child took a while. I could be adding this, but I think maybe one of the children had like a disability or something where it took a lot longer for that last child, and the mum had to put a lot of effort into that last child being okay to leave the house. So it's just like. In those situations, I feel like it's wrong for her to be so demanding on her mum. But some people were like, I can't lie to you, like as a mum,
to move in. So she should leave her husband.
And to babysit her children every day. Babysit her husband every day. But whilst they both go out to work.
Okay, I understand that like people want kids and things like that. But it just seems like, not that if you can't afford kids, don't have them, but you can't rely on like, obviously, there's some mums that will do that in a heartbeat, but there's some where it's like, okay, like, yeah, I can look after your kids, but not 24/7. Like, I'm not moving in.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Like, I just feel like if you're having kids and like you're having to rely on people all the time, like obviously there are some times where you have kids and maybe you have hardship and like you will start relying on people because of you fall into a certain situation. But if you're starting out already
on that.
like you need, I'm like, I don't think maybe you should rethink this kid. Well, you can't rethink it, you can't return it.
Yeah,
so
of course not.
I don't know. But
It's very, very tricky. That scenario that when you said about entitlement with like family and stuff, I just thought about that because that was absolutely mad. And that for me is like insane. But yeah, no, very
that's crazy.
Yeah, for real. It is well, Sha. But anywho, welcome back, guys, to another episode of the BTS Podcast. You are joined by your lovely hosts, Beatrice,
Tammy, and Sharon, and welcome back. Welcome back. Good to have you all.
Good to have you back, man. Another Monday.
Yes.
Another Monday.
I'm crying.
Boy, oh boy. Should we add... Have you guys got any songs again to add to the playlist?
I can add.
So for guys that don't know, if this is your first time, because I can't lie, we've been getting a lot of new listeners, so some of you might not be like used to the format. But basically we have a BTS song of the week where every week we just add like songs to a playlist, and you can tune into those playlists on Spotify and Apple Music. So yeah, now we're just gonna add a couple songs that we've been listening to or that we want to just add. So I don't know if any of you want to...
I'm not adding anything.
Add anything? So what do you want to add?
I'm going to add Unruly by NSG.
Okay.
I don't even know how old the song is.
That is actually an old song.
Is it old?
I think it is.
Oh.
I'm wrong. Maybe
Wasn't that the one that I played that you said that you've never heard?
Oh, was that the one?
Yeah,
okay,
that was it.
Okay, so no, it's not.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just came across it whilst we were in Malta, like after a while you get bored of listening to the same songs and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a piano. Piano.
I'm so done.
So yeah, that's a good song. I like it.
Nice.
Are you adding anything?
Yeah, let me add a song. I'm going to add. Oh yeah, so when I was preparing for Malta, which we discussed a few episodes back, I went to go and do my lashes. Let's not talk about that. But it was fine. But you know them ones where you have to start paying all these late fees and basically, yeah, I didn't know. Sorry, let's talk about it. You know how all these like policies and that it's still getting out of hand. But basically, a lot of these like hairstylists, like eyelash tech, everything.
These ones that do it from home.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, that when it was during COVID, obviously there was certain rules such as like face masks and all that sort of thing. Me, I can't remember the last time I've ever heard of anyone mention face mask. So I didn't think that face mask was a thing.
She didn't make you buy one.
Oh, absolutely. And bearing in mind, in my car, if you know me, like I always have like a massive pack of face masks. My car was literally outside her door. But I think I was about 5 minutes late for my appointment. And because I booked a really early morning, I think it was 7 o'clock appointment. So yeah, I was 5 minutes late because I remember I had to go and get cash or something like that. And yeah, I arrived at her door and I was basically, and then she was like, "Oh, have you got a face mask?" The first thing she asked me, "Have you got a face mask?" And I was like, "Oh, no, but I can literally just go to my car now." She's like, "If you go to your car now, that's gonna go into the next level of late fee." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, nah, it's 7 a.m. I ain't got time to be arguing with anybody." And she was like, "So if you're gonna buy a face mask, I'm gonna have to charge you £3."
Perfect for one.
For one. Right, I don't even know what was in that face mask as well, but that thing was suffocating me. That face mask was suffocating me during that appointment.
The way I would have used the scarf on my head, fam. What? Are you joking?
There was nothing on my head, boy. You know what I mean? My appointments, I didn't even have a wig on or anything.
Yeah,
I just had my turban.
I actually can't believe that. Like
£3.
Okay. My thing is not even the face mask. My thing is that you were only 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
And I remember my car's literally
But to be fair, I think for me, one, I booked her quite last minute and her first appointment was at 9. So she actually she didn't want to mess up the rest of her day. I get it.
That's fine, but I feel like there should be at least 15 to 20 minutes leeway in terms of
how they plan their own schedule.
Like there should be about 15 to 20 minutes between each of your clients.
Trying to get that bag, honey.
But also,
I
the my whole
but it
thing
just
with the
doesn't
late fee is like, so why aren't you paying me when you're late? Or deducting cost of and money off the thing?
Yeah, but obviously, like, you know, it's in their house, and there's not really time when they are late per se.
No, because I'll be waiting 40 minutes for her lashes sometimes, and I'm
what
just
in
like,
the person's? No, not with that babe.
I don't know if it's the same person.
Oh, it can't be with that babe. She's good still.
But yeah, there's times where I'd tell her we'll be waiting for time.
Damn.
And it's just like you end up paying the same price. But it's like if you're 5 minutes late.
Yeah, for me, like anything after 15 minutes, you can charge. Or anything after 5 that's fine.
Yeah, but 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
And it was 7 a.m. Like, come on, everyone knows that's a bit of a struggle. Like, at least you're going your bed downstairs. I'm the one that has to travel.
7 a.m.
And it's not like you were like, you literally were just like, I just need to run to my car and get the face mask.
She said, if it go, it'll be another level. I said, I ain't got time for another
level.
I ain't got time. The time, and bear in mind, the other level would be more than the £3 I would have paid for the face mask. So I said, yeah, it's better for me to just pay the face mask and just
face mask.
Literally,
2023.
Yeah. But anyway, I get it. You know, lashes, you're proper in their faces, so whatever. Cool.
I hear it, but
yeah, but it just wasn't clear for me.
It's not even just about COVID. It's just like people are just generally sick.
Of course.
Which is fine, but it's like.
At least let me just go and get it for my car, man. Let's be real.
When did we become robots? That we can't even have compassion.
Yeah, literally just let me go and get it from outside.
Love thy neighbor as you should love yourself.
If I didn't have that tool, then fair enough. I'm not going to get it from him. I literally had
that's what I'm saying,
bags
like,
outside. Like, there's nothing less than 15. It's like one of them boxes.
Yeah.
That's not
what I'm saying. Like, I just don't understand. Like, shout out to the girls that are nice.
Yeah,
the hairstylists that are nice. Like,
that's true.
Like, don't treat.
Sarah.
Oh, Sarah.
Styled by a C.
Even PA Styles that did my cram. Shout out you, precious.
You guys are nice,
fam. You guys are nice. What do you mean 5 minutes late? Like, come on, like,
bruh.
I've literally seen in someone's policy 5 minutes late, something charge. I'm like, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
5 minutes.
And also, where she live, by the way, where she, you know, for me, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at no parking is fine, but it's one of them like new build areas where it's like you have to walk quite a bit. like to find where she lives. Like it's not straightforward. It's like in the corner.
Is it in Essex?
No, it's in Dartford.
Right.
Yeah, it's in Dartford. It's a very, very nice area, but it's very
Come on, 5 minutes. No, I can't. When I
crazy.
saw that one time on one nail tech thing, I said,
nah.
I said, nah.
Yeah.
I could never book you. Like 5, even though I'm quite good with time.
Yeah.
Sorry. Out of principle, I cannot book you because if something had happened on the road, I don't know.
You never know.
You never know. 5
Especially
minutes.
that
Come
8:13,
on.
man.
Literally.
5 minutes.
It's crazy.
And you know when people live in areas where it's like prone to traffic, I'm ever so sorry.
Exactly.
You need to review your policy.
Yeah.
You need to review your policy.
Exactly.
Right.
What's
On
the time
5
and everything.
minutes. 5 minutes. I don't think you guys understand.
Yeah,
this.
no, it's 5 minutes.
we-
Like
Okay.
you won't even allow 2 songs to play.
Yeah, I was
Before-
literally 5 minutes late. I was 5 minutes late.
Nah.
Which is actually pretty good for me, but I was 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
I know.
Come on.
Crazy. But anyway, when I was there in my appointment, obviously she's playing music and stuff. And you know me, if you know
Please, I
me,
want to turn that thing off.
what do you mean turn it off? After I
Fam.
pay the money.
I've already paid
we sit in
£3.
silence. No, you better entertain me, boy. You better entertain me. What do
Nah,
you
man,
mean?
you've already pissed me off.
And
In
obviously,
fact-
with lashes, you can't even look at anything, so you have to.
Nah,
it's
yeah,
just sounds.
Oh, that's true. I don't do lashes. So.
Exactly, it's just sounds.
I've
So you
never-
can't even look.
Damn.
I'm so dumb. But so anyway, yeah, when she was she had a really good place. I can't even cap. You know me, I love R&B. So she played, but it's not really R&B. But she had like a really good like mix and stuff and all that sort of chat.
This babe and her genre.
Anyway, so she
Yeah,
played
tell me.
Drake.
Can this girl be for real?
She
Okay.
played Drake
Featuring?
The Dream, and it shut it down.
You should shut it
down.
You be the baddest.
Let's
Fam,
celebrate.
Is it
fam,
old?
No,
It's very new.
First album.
fam.
From the first
When
album.
she played that,
First
like,
album,
the
right?
nostalgia that
First
came-
album, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
When she played that, the nostalgia that filled my body, I was like, I'm ready to get out of the
remember.
country.
Wasn't that album called Firework? What was it?
No,
Thank,
no, no,
thank
no,
me. Thank me later.
Thank me later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a song on there called Fireworks.
Okay.
Mate.
That is a song. It's a long song as well.
Even Andre,
yeah.
he put on Instagram story the other day, Drake has not been good
Yeah,
for the
it's
last
not been
5 years.
good.
I said
Yeah,
facts.
facts.
I said facts.
I literally was playing this song. I was literally playing this exact song when I was waiting for Shari
Like,
just now.
Old Drake.
Yeah.
I think it's not even old Drake. Like Drake from like that to
Era
like
till
Like,
probably
mate,
like nothing was the same or something, or even
after that.
let me see.
If you're reading this, is too late.
Yes,
I didn't like that album.
That's probably the last. No, that's a good
Did
one.
you go wireless that year?
No.
That's
a
why.
good one. No, that's a good one.
If you went wireless that year, you would have fallen in love with that album.
Nah, it was sick,
What?
man. It was
Nah, that
sick.
wireless. Oh my god! If I talk about
Crazy.
that wireless, me and Bernard.
Yeah,
Hey,
you guys went.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I ended up injured in that wireless. I'll never forget. Like
fam,
that was
I could have
such a
been
good-
injured the way that I somersaulted into VIP,
Yeah, I
almost
remember
getting
that.
kicked out by one Asian lady. I said, "Oh my god, I'm out!" Like this was just before Drake was like the headline was. She was about to kick me out. Then my black brother, he said, "Don't worry, stay in VIP." I said, "Black lives matter." Wakanda forever.
I had a dream.
I had a dream.
You guys are sick.
Wakanda forever. Thank you, that young black man. I am sure you are prospering right now in life.
Amen.
Oh, you don't even know him.
It was a security guard.
Yeah.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Don't worry, baby girl." Just
It's not his first album. So Far Gone. So Far Gone is first, and Thank Me Later was 2010.
I thought so far gone was a mixtape.
Oh, well, it's listed here as an album, but I don't really know. No,
Child.
yeah, it's not. It's an hour.
I think Thank Me Later was his debut album. But let me listen before the music heads come.
Exactly. I'm not like that, boy. But anyway, that was a song that she played, and I loved that song back then. It made me so happy.
song.
So yeah, I'm gonna add that to the playlist. You said not adding anything, right? So yeah, we'll add those 2 songs to the playlist. Like we said, you can find that on Apple Music and also on Spotify.
Cool. So this week I thought we would discuss kind of like just work, but then also being like a black person in the corporate world. At the moment at my workplace, it's like they're doing the end of year reviews and stuff. So it kind of got me thinking about how our culture has impacted the way that we move at work. And
Is
I
it
know-
our culture as in Nigerian culture?
Okay.
Because I remember when I first started working, the feedback I would get from a lot of my managers was like, oh, you need to speak up more. You need to challenge more. You need to... I said, yeah, I'm just a small girl. Like, I always found that really difficult. And I just kind of thought about, what were you guys' experience when you started working? Like, did you have the same sort of thing?
No, I think it's funny that you mentioned that, like, one of your managers does that, oh, you need to speak up more. But I think, like, when you are Nigerian and you're a woman, you get told that, can't talk too much, or you need to dim, like, not really need to dim yourself, but, like,
let the people that know speak.
Yes. Like, the people that are superior to you, have more experience, let them speak. You're meant to listen, you're meant to learn, like, or you're too forward, you need to calm down, you need to do, like, you could never really, like, say what you want to say. Like, you always get told that you have to listen when people are talking, blah, 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 blah.
And the assumption is always that your elders know more than you.
Exactly. Yeah. So you you're kind of trained to kind of stick to yourself, not really voice out anything, kind of just like, stick to yourself basically. So I think I struggled with that as well. When I was working, it was kind of like what you said, like, you need to speak up, or if one thing that I struggle with, like, till this day, is asking for help. Like, I will try and find the answer one way or another, whether I'm Googling, whether I'm, finding it by myself. One of my managers was like, if you didn't know the answer, why didn't you just ask? I'm just like, why didn't I just ask? Like, that's something that I've literally had to try. Do you know what that is?
Even that one, I think that's even slightly also to do with our culture, but it may be similar across cultures. But I think for us, it's like, when you ask silly questions to an adult,
you hit
my
the nail on the head.
You know how British people say there's no silly question in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, there's silly questions.
Shut up your mouth! How can you come and tell me how you don't even? How can you not know this?
How can you not know this?
How can you not know this?
Yes.
Bear in mind, they don't even tell you what the answer is. How can you not know this? That's it.
Or
end of conversation.
That's it.
There's the asking silly questions or getting something wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like a really bad.
What is this?
Yeah.
16? How can it be 16?
Yes.
How can it be 16? We've gone over this 3 times.
Yes.
How can it be 16?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can you?
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Better read your book.
Yeah, literally.
And it's kind of like, okay, I don't know.
You're scared to make mistakes.
We're
not taught to learn from mistakes and realize, okay, so the stepping stone.
We need to unlearn.
Honestly, there's so many things
so much to unlearn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like, literally, when you said that, it kind of like, it ignited something in me, like PTSD, like.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like sometimes when we talk, make it seem like we had like such a bad child. It's not that we had a bad child. It's like some of the ways that we've been taught, like, how to be, and like, not that it's wrong, but it's just, it's not right. I don't know how to explain it.
Not even that it's not right, but they don't realize that some of the things they're talking about then,
they were instilling in us then.
They were instilling us that actually spills over. And I think they just think that it's just, when you're young, like, you'll just do that, and then we'll just go out of it. You won't be affected by things that you've been taught, or words that had been said back then.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they didn't really understand the implications of some of the things that they were doing in that respect. But no, for sure, like, I definitely feel like, we were taught that asking questions that don't make sense, that may be deemed as silly, there's just no point in asking it. Like, you just keep it to yourself and keep quiet and think about the correct way to say it, and only speak when you know that it's gonna be something good.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, I can't blame them, because at the end of the day, you know how we always talk about when your parents come to this country, like, they were mimicked for even the way they spoke. They were mimicked sometimes for even the, like, how they would put sentences together and certain environments. So for them, because it's also like they're trying to blend in, I don't know how to explain it, but like they're trying to, like, I don't know, deal with so many different layers of it that actually, in their respect, from their perspective, sometimes the embarrassment that they might have felt saying certain things and people actually, like, showing negative kind of actions towards them also made them a bit more quiet, and they might not feel as confident themselves. So therefore, I think they want to also safeguard us and be like, don't just be saying stuff because actually they'll be taking note, which I can't lie to you is true. And this is something that I feel like we need to be real about. I'm not trying to call out, this is not just my workplace, this is not particularly pertaining to my own examples, but I've seen it, and this is just a clear example. Unfortunately, if you are of a colour, and I'm sure everyone can relate, when you are of a certain colour in the corporate world, one, you're a minority, so I say that, you stick out like a sore thumb, but at the same time, they group you all in the same group. So even if there's 3 of you, you're all the same name in their eyes, really and truly, unless they really know you in particular, they get you mixed up. But it's also actually certain things that other people can get away with and say, for you, it would be used as a negative thing in your feedback. And that's 100%. That's unfortunately the sad reality of it. So as much as we can talk about the fact that, we should be free and stuff, but unfortunately also the negative actually does exist, and it does happen in those places. So it's very, very hard to strike the balance. And I just feel like, and I know there's obviously networks out there that exist to support Black people in the working space, even in individual organizations, but also across industry, across sector. But it definitely needs to be spoken about a lot more. And I don't want to be the spokesperson or the change person, but it does need to go up to those higher people, because I just don't feel like they really understand I
think that's
bias.
the difficulty, just going back to what I started with, it's so hard to unlearn that stuff. If you've been told your whole childhood, bearing in mind by the time you start working, that's your first year out of education. You've been in education for 18 years, right? Yeah. And the whole time you've been told, first of all, the way education is set up is you listen to your teacher and you regurgitate what they tell you. You can't start battling with your teacher about whether this molecule is like that. How will you know? They have a PhD. Anything, you're just about to get your first year degree or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So you've been conditioned for a really long time to listen to people who know more than you and just learn it exactly how they say it. But then also at home in our culture, I can only really speak as a Nigerian. Again, it's don't speak when your elders are speaking. What they say is always right. Or when, there's always that one auntie or that one uncle, they'll tell your parents what you did, but you didn't really do it like that. Do you know what I mean? They'll be like, oh yeah, she was talking and she was, and it's but I actually wasn't. So am I lying? Do you know what I mean? That whole you can't challenge people. Yeah. And so then you now get to 21 or 22, you've just left uni. Bearing in mind you've just been living your whole life that way. Yeah. And all of a sudden it's you need to speak up more, should challenge more, and I'm I don't even know how to do that. Do you get what I mean? It's just so, but then it's when it comes to reviews and stuff, it's she doesn't really speak, doesn't really bring forth ideas, doesn't really and you're oh my days, or I think we've spoken about this one time where we knew somebody said something and we thought maybe we could do it this way, but we never said anything, and then somebody else says that and they're oh, fantastic idea, and you're damn it, I just said I actually do you know what I mean? But then you're kind of you don't want to be the one to be oh no, actually I don't agree, because then they're going to be what do you know, you're a grad, do you know what I mean?
It's just funny how in our culture our parents are pushing us to go for all these things, be all these great things, putting us through private education, putting us through all this stuff, 11 plus, do this, that. And then when you actually get to a place where, okay, now is the time to show us what we've been doing, what our money has been, we need to see it. And then because of our culture, that's the same thing that's stopping us from getting... do you understand that?
Our culture is the reason we even got there in the first place.
Hard working, all this stuff.
But we get there now and can't speak.
You can't even speak. You can't even say, my name is... without, so it's just weird. Now that you guys have said it, I've just been sitting here damn.
I think the hardest part is just watching your white counterparts just do it so naturally. I remember there was, when I was my first job at Atkins, I was a second year grad, about to exit, and there was some not interns, apprentices who had just started. There was one babe. This girl had not gone to uni, by the way. She's an apprentice. She's 18. She was challenging everything. And people really loved her because they were like, oh, like she's so like, she
and
comes
even if
up-
it's not even like the right thing, like people just want to hear your thoughts.
People just want to hear. And like even like recently, so I just started a new job and we're having like end of year appraisals, but obviously it's not my end of year because I've been there for like not even 2 months yet. But then one thing that my manager was saying to me was like, oh, obviously you came from this company before and like they're quite a prestigious company in the
industry.
And she was just like, it would be really great if you could like bring forth some of your ideas. And I was like, oh, like people actually care about what I have to say. And then I don't know, I just always find it really challenging because then sometimes you'll try and do it, but it's just not, it's like literally not.
Yeah. I
it's
think
not
this
natural.
whole thing also stems about grading, like, because in the workplace, you're obviously like put into like categories like an analyst, or you're put in like junior level, like, and then you've got like a manager that's managing you, and you've got all these sort of things.
Yeah.
So we're already our mind is trained just like how we are in the household, where like there's certain hierarchies. Like once you get to a certain age, like you then can start talking a bit more.
Yeah.
And when you get to a certain age now, there's certain things you can start talking about a bit
start
more.
getting
so
two
you
meats
start, exactly. So there's certain things you can start to unlock as you get older, right?
Yeah.
And we feel like we have to wait until we become a manager. We feel like we have to wait until we've actually proved it. Because I feel like when we're even like as in our family, in our cultures as well, like you have to prove yourself to be able to earn certain privileges. For example, like if you behave well in school, if you do well in school, your parents will most likely like, let you be a bit more free. Be like, okay, cool. Like, you focus on your education now. Go and enjoy yourself here. If you're someone that's always failing, always causing problems, you're going to be on your neck even more. Exactly. So for us, we always feel like we have to prove ourselves first in order to then be free in the moment and do what we need to do, right? Yeah. But obviously in the workplace, that's not how it is. You don't need to wait until you have proven that you actually have the skill set. Sometimes you just need to go in and just freestyle.
Just do it,
And that is something that even like we just said now, like we've been working for how many years now, and it's still something that you have to subconsciously tell yourself. And I think for me, one of the biggest things that's helped me, like probably, I'm gonna even like be real and say probably just even in the last like 6 months or so, is literally just like stop overcomplicating shit. Like literally, we always feel like our processes have to be so complex. Like I'm never gonna be able to understand it. But literally like dumb it down, and also like you don't have to speak in the exact same way that other people speak. Because I think as well, that's another thing for me in particular, is that when you have certain people, like work is not my life. Like, I'm sorry. There are people out there that work is all they know. They be reading reports day in, day out. In the morning, they wake up, read report. In the evening, they wake report. In the weekend, they'll not come back and tell us what they read in the weekend that was good for the report. If that's you, great.
Fantastic.
Me, I've got stuff like the podcast. I've got link up brunch with my friends. I've got things that keep me going outside of that. So I understand that. Not trying to say this is just a job for me. Like, I obviously enjoy my work. Like, in certain sectors, I will know more, I'm interested in, etc. But there's like, I don't need to speak in the most technical way to prove that I understand the process. Like, I can dumb it down for you, play it back for you, and you will know that I get it. I get it. You get it. We all get it. So let's move on. So there's no point in you trying to like complicate. Oh yeah, the process.
I think that's one thing I found like extremely difficult, like especially at my old workplace. It's like the whole like, for me, I'm not like an arse licker or anything like that. I genuinely, it makes me feel sick. It gives me the ick.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that. Like, I genuinely just have to be myself. And unfortunately, like in the corporate world, especially I would say in finance, you do have to do a bit of that. Like, for example, I don't really like work drinks because more time my people are not there. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to, the persona that you've been putting on the whole day, you now have to take it outside of the office and do it at the pub as well. Like, it's a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if you've been working long days, long hours, like long week and stuff, to have to do that. It's long.
Yeah.
But I always force myself to go because you have to, like, especially if you're in a small organization, like how people, it's not just about how good your work is. Like, that is an aspect, but it's also whether people like you, whether people get on with you. Like, that stuff is really important too. Yeah. And it took me a while to clock onto that. Like the fact that was also part of your appraisal. It's like the unspoken bit.
Yeah.
Even in my first job, I remember like my manager used to say like, oh, you should do more internal work because you need people to know your face. Like they need to know you. So that when people are doing like, Remco and stuff, and like they're sitting around the table talking about, oh, what score should we give this person and what bonus should we give them? They actually know who they're talking about when your name comes up. But yeah, that's just something that again, because our parents are like, well, my parents and your parents, I think were your parents born here?
Yeah.
My mum was born here, but my dad wasn't. And my mum grew up in Nigeria anyway. So when they came back, it's like, they don't know all these processes. Like now, obviously, I can explain that to my younger brother who's 8 years younger than me. Like, by the way, like you have to do all of these internships. And when you go, you need to do this. And you need to network. And this is how you network and da-da-da-da. But because my parents hadn't done that, you just figure it out all on your own. And I felt like I was actually learning a lot of that, like the unspoken rules, like a lot later in my, I mean, I'm only like, 4 years into my career, but like later on in my career than some of my white counterparts.
Yeah. It's just, it's very, very tricky. Like we just mentioned, there's so many different aspects to it. But like I said, I just think we just have to like simplify things and just not overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
And just go for it. Like, but like you said, it's a lot easier said than done when your whole life you've been, told to act a particular type of way.
Yeah.
I would say with the whole like questions like about there's no silly question. Like people do say that and sometimes they mean it, but sometimes they really don't.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes there are some questions you should really just
Yeah.
not keep to yourself, but you
ask the
shouldn't
right
ask
person.
in an open forum.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I found really helpful when I moved into private equity, because it was difficult because I hadn't moved as a grad because I'd already completed a grad scheme elsewhere. So but I had moved as like an analyst, but then that comes with like perceived knowledge, which I didn't have, right? But because I had a buddy who was actually really nice, all of those questions, like when I'm telling you simple questions, but it's not stuff that you can Google because it's not on Google. Do you know what I mean? Like that stuff, like if you find someone that's nice, just ask them, man.
Yeah, for real.
It's working life, man. It's not easy. You think that all you have to do is get this grade at GCSE, get this grade at A level, everything will follow through, but it's just not the case.
Yeah, for real. For real. Something else?
No.
Short and sweet. Ooh.
We love it.
For real.
What I was going to ask is like, is there any, because obviously we've spoken about like how our parents navigated with us, like in terms of like, would there be anything that you think that was positive that has impacted us? Because I know we've spoken about like the negative, don't ask silly questions, don't do this. And I know that we spoke about like them like pushing us, being hard work and stuff. Is there anything else that you feel like, okay, this part of our culture was good, like this is how I would adopt this and do this with my own children?
I would say how hardworking we are.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for me, I think like that is something that a lot of Nigerians pride themselves with, in the fact that like they work very, very, very hard.
Yeah.
And I think that just having, like, both my parents are super hardworking, but my dad especially, like, he's so hardworking. I think I genuinely wouldn't be like where I am today if I didn't have that kind of mentality. I definitely have there's some people that have that mentality where it's like, nothing's too hard. Like, I just need to figure out how to do it. Like, I definitely have an aspect of that. Like, I was very fearful, like, moving into this industry because I was like, I actually know nothing. But then I was like, how hard can it actually be? Like, I'll just learn as I go. And I think because of the way like my parents raised me, I think that that's like just always stuck with me. And I've just always thought like, I will actually get it. Like, it's not that difficult. Like, if I put my mind to it, I'll understand.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I don't even want to be peak about it, but I actually don't know. Apart from that, I can't lie to you. I don't see a lot of benefits like that. Unless I'm bugging. Do you see any other?
I think for me, I don't know. I'm just going to talk about my experience specifically. Yeah. I think at first, my parents were very like, oh, read your book, go to school, blah, blah, blah. But I think after I did my GCSEs and like maybe my first year A-levels, they kind of like realized that I'm not as academic as, well, I am, like, I'm not academic, but I'm not like hardcore to the, I'm getting straight A star. Like, I'm not that type of person. So I think what they did is that they started to realize that, look, anything that she does, she just has to be the best at it, even if it's something that we don't understand. Like, once I finished when I did 3 years at A-level. So I did first year in sixth form, and then I decided myself, not my parents' form, I decided that I'm going to leave and then go to my college and try my best and see if I can get into uni that way. So I think they kind of like allowed me to explore what I really wanted and made me understand. Like I did a BTEC in my first year of A-level, but it wasn't as big as the BTEC that I did when I left sixth form and went to college. So obviously my dad was like, what is BTEC? I don't know what this BTEC is like. Can you go to uni with that? And then once we like found out about it and everything, like that's what I really admired in my parents, because they were actually willing to, like, you know, some people, they would just shut it down. They'd be like, oh no, what's that? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But for me, it's like they like kind of like understood like where I was, and they really wanted to help, and they really wanted the best thing for me. It might have not been the route that everybody else is. Like sometimes, you know, when parents like to compare you to other children, it's like, oh, but so-and-so did this and so-and-so did that. I think with them, they kind of realized that I'm not like so-and-so's children, I'm my own person. So them themselves, they were like learning things, and like they were more like accepting of like where what I wanted to do and stuff like that. So they kind of took like a back seat on this whole, you have to do this, you have to do that. Not that they were ever like, you have to do it, but it was kind of like expected and encouraged. But here it was kind of like they did, they were just more open. So they allowed, like they were quite, at first they were a bit restrictive of the BTEC, but then they were quite open because of how well I was doing. I ended up doing better than a lot of my peers in terms of, if I was to convert what I got in BTEC to A levels, I got 2 A stars and an A. So it's kind of like, and I was in the same position as some people that, do you understand? Like we're the same.
This is like my brother actually. He did A levels, but he studied media at uni. And he was saying that it was actually really funny that there were people that would be in his first, like when everyone was in first year, be like, how you do media, and then like after first year they got their results, and then they were both in the same lecture the following year. And it's really funny because I say this to everyone. Me and my brother are completely different. Like I am not creative. Like to a flaw as well. Like it's actually quite difficult because in the working world, like it doesn't matter if you're like a consultant or you work in finance, like you need to have some level of creativity because eventually you've got all the reports, you've done all the numbers, but you need to put it in a way that you can present it to your clients. Like that stuff is so important. My brother's so sick at that. He obviously has his own clothing line as well. Like he's just so good, and he got first in his degree as well. Like he smashed it. And I think my parents as well in the beginning were a little bit like, can't you study and what about them? Because ultimately they didn't know better. Like they thought that like you can only really make money if like you're a doctor or a But I think it was nice that after a while they just like kind of like my brother just stuck his ground and he was like, no, this is what I'm doing. Like this is what I'm passionate about. And now he's like working in marketing and like has his own clothing brand. It's nice.
Yeah, because like someone like my dad now, like whenever he's talking to his friends that have younger children or like going through sixth form or like, my dad, just let them do whatever they want to do, and if they're doing it, let them be the best at what they're doing. Because there's no point in sending your child to go and do medicine and the person comes out with a third. Like what the hell is that? You spend 5-6 years. I'm like, there's no point in pushing that child to do that, and then they end up getting a bad grade or not liking what they're doing, and then they resent you. You're disappointed, and now everybody's crying at graduation. Like what the hell is the point? So my dad has always said that before, maybe it was, you have to do STEM subjects. But now it's like any subject that you want to do.
Okay, so when you guys have kids, how would you feel about like your child saying they want to drop out after GCSEs to pursue like acting or to pursue like singing or like...
In my house, there's no dropping out after GCSE. You can drop out after A level. I will tell them to go to college. I'm sorry, there's no dropping out after sixth form. For me personally.
After GCSE.
After GCSE, there's no dropping out.
Because I feel like you're too early. 16, it's too early.
Why are you dropping out? Please get back to school.
Unless it's something that you've already started like way back and you've already got to a certain level.
We've been training you.
Yeah,
you know those child actors, Zach and Cody, those ones.
Of course.
TV show.
That's different.
Let's sit back and, but you're 16 and you're talking about, have one audition for an advert. Get into the school.
Yeah.
Get into the school.
You can do that at the side. You can do that on the side. You can do that on the side.
Because my thing is that,
what about acting school instead of A levels?
go ahead. But
That's fine.
Go ahead. But I'm sorry, you're not going to be 16 and roaming the no. I feel like once you're 18 and you decide that you don't want to go uni, that's fine. I want you to get to the level of A-level, college, and BTEC. I want you to have those qualifications or get to that level. There's no after 16. No.
Yeah.
You're still a child. So
for me, unless it's something like football where age is also a factor, then maybe I'll be like, But something like acting and that, no. But yeah, no, I was gonna just say, sorry, when I said about there's not really that many benefits, I wasn't particularly talking about my own situation. I just meant culturally, like, because what you just said now is your parents going against what the norm would be in our culture. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I meant when I just clarified as well.
Because there are people that went with their parents' thing.
Yeah.
Where are they now?
Boy, I'm telling you, but I think as well, like, we can't even blame our parents as well, because also, even though, like, for example, with your brother, I think it's slightly different, but when we, especially us, when we were doing certain things, we also, when people were saying like, oh yeah, I just want to do this, like, I don't even think people were really thinking that I could even be like proper successful in it.
Wait, sorry.
So like, for example, your brother saying that, oh, like, I want to, I don't know, study media. Let me not say study media because that's even further on down the line, but like, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's only now that we're really starting to understand that even if you want to end up in finance, you don't actually need to study anything finance up until any moment. If you want to be a lawyer, you don't even need to even study law up until any moment. That's what I mean, where like we also understand.
They didn't understand the system.
Yeah, like we understand the system better now. So like we know that we don't actually need to do certain things from way back when you're younger to be able to get into it. You can switch at any moment.
Yeah.
So, but obviously back then, what I'm trying to say is that if people are like, oh, like I'm thinking to, I don't know, do drama. I don't think people are doing it in the mindset that, I'm going to do drama because I'm actually going to make it. Like, I think people just wanted to do whatever they actually really liked. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, when it came to, when my dad is like advising, because I'll hear him on the phone and stuff, like, he will always say, like, even if they're doing cooking, culinary school. Let
These
them
chefs are making money.
Let them be the best. Like, let them do it, but let them be the best and do something that they like. Because there's no point in doing something that you don't like and then not enjoying it. And then when you don't enjoy something, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to do it well.
Yeah.
Like, there are some people that will, but it's just like, you're not going to do it well. You're not going to find it enjoyable. Like, there's so, like you said, like, there's so many alleys. Like, you could be a cook one day and then say, okay, I want to go into finance. Like, it's possible to do that.
It's definitely possible.
Oh yeah, you can switch your career at any time.
Yeah.
I was going to even say as well, and like your career, like, we work for so long. If you think education is long, when you start working, there's no summer holiday, no half term. You need to be doing something that you enjoy or you can stand. Do you know what I mean?
Literally, and never be afraid to switch at any given moment.
No, literally, switch whenever. It's not even that deep, man.
Literally. But yeah, is that all we want to discuss?
Yeah, I think so. I just wanted to discuss this because I just always find around these appraisal times that it's always really funny, like the feedback. Not funny, but like it's always really interesting.
Well, I don't find some of them funny at all.
No, yeah.
Sorry? I don't find some of the feedback
like
funny at all.
Some of the feedback is
remember I told
way
you I can
offline.
even discuss it because I don't even care.
Oh yeah, it's true.
But like I remember I got one funny feedback and I literally to this day, like I literally just cannot believe that I
from
got
work.
This feedback. Yeah. Like I still can't believe I got this feedback, which is in regards to PowerPoint, because I didn't, you know, when like you're making corrections to a slide live. So like someone's telling you to update it in a particular way. And like it was for I don't even know if it was actually like, I think it was for an external presentation. But essentially I was just making the changes live as whoever I was working with at the time was telling me what to do.
Yeah.
And I think he basically said like, oh, like put the boxes on this like this size, space them out like this, color them like this, and then add like sentences here and there. And I might have like dragged like maybe a shape across, like actually just moving it rather than just quickly circling it and doing my shifts. And basically like, obviously he didn't make a comment in the moment, but then one of my comments was basically like, I'm not as adequate as I should be in PowerPoint because I don't have all my shortcuts set up like efficiently, which is actually not the case. It was just in that moment I just decided I wanted to drag. Like if you see me at, like when I use PowerPoint, I can't lie to you, like I'm just shortcut from beginning to end. But it was just in that moment I just thought, let me just quickly drag it along and stuff. Because it wasn't like we were even in a rush. No, we were doing a slow thing. Let me just drag it, Jerry. I couldn't believe it. then what made it matters worse is that another person that I was working with that was the same level as me did the exact same move. I asked him, did he get that feedback? He said no. I was like, So that just goes to show you that, boy, sometimes things work for you and things don't in the workplace. Sometimes you just got to shrug it off. Like, I've moved on from it now because at the end of the day, it is what it is. It was, I mean, people, when they saw feedback, they were like, come on, this is a bit, we know it's not the case, so it's fine. But sometimes
they don't say that.
Yeah, sometimes they don't say that. They'll actually take that as a gospel.
Yeah.
So
I even thinking back to like my old workplace, like I had this one manager, like that guy was just problematic start to finish. But like there was one day I was working and like literally the way my desk faced, like I face a wall. So, and if you walk past me, you can't see my face. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
He walked past me, came back and he was like, you look so angry, we should have a chat. I'm like, I was like, oh my gosh, did someone I'm working with like message? Because he's my line manager. So I was like, because he's my line manager, I don't work with him on anything, right? So I'm like, did somebody that I'm working with, like maybe like my senior associate or something, message him like, can you talk to Sharon? Is she okay? Bearing in mind, I sit next to that babe anyway, so I was thinking, if she did all of that just to get to me, that's so weird when she literally sits next to me. Had a chat later on and I was like, oh, did so-and-so say something? Is that why you said that? He was like, no, I just felt like you weren't smiling, so... Sorry, whenever do you go up to another guy and you say, oh, you're not smiling, smile. You look really angry.
Yeah.
And like, that was one incident where he said that. Then another incident when he said that as well was like, basically he had asked me how I was like over Slack one time. And I was just like, oh, no, I'm fine. But like, it's just work is super intense at the moment. So we had a discussion. And then that was it. Like literally, I didn't even complain about anything. Like I was just like, oh no, it's just busy. Like it would be good if like maybe I could get a grad on my deal or whatever. Cool. Then we were due to have like another like line manager catch up. But we'd had one literally the week before because he had like postponed the one from before, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then he was like, oh, I'm thinking maybe we should reschedule this call since we just spoke last week. And I was like, yeah, sounds good, smiley face. Then he goes, yeah, maybe we can discuss, maybe we can have a catch up when you're more angry again or when you're angry again. Guys, if you know me, I don't even get angry like that. In the workplace as well, to be getting angry. No, I was just like, and the thing is, he wasn't even white. I think that's the one that actually even hurt the most because I was just like, for you to even, as an ethnic minority yourself, to be labeling me with that like angry black woman narrative, it's just so wrong.
Yeah. It's really difficult.
It's just long, man.
The things I don't want people to be thinking that, oh yeah, we're just here bashing like workplace because this is just life. Like you're going to always interact with people from, everyone in the workplace comes from various different aspects of life, right? So you just need to learn how to navigate these sort of things. And I think for me, one of my lessons is that when things are a bit uncomfortable, like there are actually people that you probably can speak to about it. And also don't just stay silent, like, because at the end of the day, no one's going to help you but yourself. So like in certain situations where that happens, like you have to be careful and know the right people to talk to about it. But if you do actually know the person to say something and just be like, oh, this situation happened, like, what's your thoughts? Like even just getting someone's thoughts, like, what's your thoughts? Like how to navigate it. Someone that's actually an external to the situation, and also maybe also in this particular situation, not the same race as you, can actually help you like, oh, this is how I might do it. Because sometimes when you actually speak to other people, like the way that they do things, you're like, oh, bro, I didn't even think that this could even be a possible option. Like, let me try it. And it actually ends up working for you. So don't always stay silent in certain situations. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, make sure you guys follow us on our socials. That is BTS Pod _ on Twitter, on TikTok, and on Instagram. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, the BTS Podcast. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all that jazz. And yeah, we appreciate all the love and support that you guys have shown so far. And as always, we will see you guys in our next episode. Bye.